Hello and welcome to the Dave Cowens episode of the Hoop 3 podcast, aka episode 118, which is in honor of him being the best NBA player to ever wear the jersey number 18. Recording this one on the evening of Tuesday, June 24th in the year of our Lord 2025. My name is Logan Wortman, and like usual, I'm once again joined by my ruminant co-host, Jacob Roth. Jacob, how does it feel to be on the Dave Cowens episode?
Does ruminant mean I have like 4 legs and a hooves?
I think so, basically. You're a mammal with hooves. Hooved animal.
Honestly, pretty proud of that vocabulary poll on my behalf. Maybe I shouldn't be, but also I was a fan of basketball for an embarrassingly long amount of time before I properly knew how to pronounce this gentleman, his name. I always thought it was Cowens forever.
Is that what I just said? What is it?
I thought you said Cowens.
Did I say Cowens?
Or maybe I thought it was Cowens and it's Cowens. Maybe I've completely flipped my noggin already.
I'm pretty sure it's at least that's how I always hear like I can imagine right now Bill Simmons saying Dave Cowens, in my head. I'm pretty sure it's Dave Cowens.
It is. I'm stupid. I'm just stupid. But it's more like a Celtics guy that I am to like get that wrong seems goofy.
I was going to make a deal about how we've got 2 Celtics players in a row for the episode title.
That's true.
Yeah. Tatum and now Cowens. Both MVP.
Yeah.
Well, no, Tatum's not one MVP, or finals MVP, which is dumb. He should be finals MVP, but that's neither here nor there.
Kind of wild. It's wild when you have like such a history as the Celtics that this is like a guy that people don't know all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's not like when you're listing off Celtic people. Granted, the way he left the team wasn't exactly like great. Like it was kind of a little bit spicy. He like needed a break mentally, and then came back, and then like wasn't really into it, and then ended up trying to go play. I think it was for the Bucks or somebody else in the East.
I remember him playing for the Bucks at least. I don't know the story behind it, but
like he didn't play there very long, and then he retired. And then he like came back and he was a coach for a while at a bunch of places. But he like had like a 2-year mental health break. But in the 70s, really? So it was like weird. Like, no, in the 70s, like mental health that was not
for sure. Yeah, no, I agree.
Yeah. Like, I don't know how this man would have survived in the social media age.
Yeah, who knows? Maybe it had to do with like drugs or like, actual things that were diagnosed, He could have had some
maybe
genetic...
I have no idea. I have literally no idea. I just know that he is a like a dog, like an absolute dog.
Yeah. I think he won an MVP in like 1975 range, somewhere in there.
That would be correct. Ish timeline. Because he was the end of the koozies into... He was just kind of like one of the mini tide overs in between.
Yeah,
Kuzi
I believe he was basically right after Havlicek, I want to say.
Kuzi was right before Havlicek.
Well, Kuzi was even older than Russell. Wasn't he?
Because Kuzi stopped before Russell stopped.
Yeah, but... So it was Kuzi and Russell... And then Havlicek was young when Russell was still there. But then Havlicek was like the carrier of the team for a while. And then I think Cowens came along after Havlicek's prime.
We had a miscommunication because I said Kuzi and then you said after. And that's why I was like, Havlicek was definitely after Kuzi. They might have, I don't even think they played together 1 year. Or maybe it was only one. Maybe that's what it was.
Cowens and Kuzi?
Yeah. No. Kuzi and Havlicek. They definitely played together. Anyway,
yeah, I think they did.
I'm going down a rabbit hole. Years get a little fuzzy. Celtics were very good from the 60s, honestly, until the 90s. They were like a pretty solid team that whole run. But that being said, That's not at all what we're talking about today. We're actually going to talk about your team instead of my team. But before you talk about your team, Logan, you know what people should do? Head on down to the like button or subscribe button if you're on YouTube, or subscribe to the podcast on whatever platform you're listening on, whether it's Spotify, Apple, wherever you get your podcasts. Thank you, first of all, and give us a little bit of a rating. Let us know what you think. Mean, not mean, anywhere in between. I'm Eminem. And then also be sure to hit up patreon.com/hoop theory. A bunch of different fiscal levels you can support the show. And if you're not down for the whole monthly commitment, that's fine. There's also an option that's called Buy Me a Coffee, also /hoop theory. Or you can swing on over to the mailbag. That is hooptheory.mailbag@gmail.com. Send us on over your questions, basketball, football, or no ball related, whatever you're looking to ask us. Feel free, because off season can be a dark time for a very one sport podcast. Yeah. So we'd love to have your questions to help us do maybe an extra episode that's not just us babbling on about the off season like we're kind of sort of doing now. So that being said, I know I didn't forget anything this time, Logan.
That was beautiful. You nailed that.
Nugget Land is on effing fire.
Yeah, it really is. And like Lakerland and like all the other people who are attacking the Nuggets now with saying that Jokic is going to be a future whatever. Mostly Lakers, the thing that people keep trying to speak into existence. And I hate it. I don't like it at all. What we're referring to is today there was a press conference held for the Nuggets introducing their new front office team, which I say team because they appointed two guys really as the faces of the front office. I believe both of them have the title of like vice president of whatever. I think Ben Tenzer is the VP of basketball ops, and then John Wallace is the VP of player personnel, whatever that means. So in essence, it's just going to be two guys making decisions. Who knows who's going to be like the real decision maker long term? It sounds like it might just be Josh Kroenke, who is the guy who gave this quote. And that's the Nuggets owner and governor of the team. He was asked about going into the second apron to basically like the KCP question, why the Nuggets didn't sign him last offseason. Because obviously signing him for the deal that he went with the Magic for, which was like $20 million a year, would have put us very firmly into the second apron. And Josh Kroenke was asked about his willingness as an owner to go into the second apron. And he said that he's not necessarily not willing if the time arises or if the need arises, but he just fears the situation of, when you're in the second apron and then all of a sudden you have a random injury at the worst possible time to like a Jamal Murray or a Michael Porter. You look like you want to butt in. Sorry.
I have the exact quote whenever you want it.
Oh, I do have the quote also.
Oh, cool. Just wanted to make sure.
Yeah. So he was asked about that. And so he was just talking about the fear of a player going down like Jamal Murray, and then you have a situation where you can't make moves as easily because the second apron ties your hands, basically, like just literally. Like you can't put contracts together to go get a guy because it has to be, it's just all these restrictions. It's just very handicapped of a situation if you are in the second apron. But then Josh Kroenke decided to say the two words that should just never like be said in a situation like this. Like that should be just the bulletin board thing number one going into this press conference. It's basically like saying the word bomb on an airplane is how I would refer to it as. Like, I mean, even if you say it in a way that's like, man, I really hope... It's like a
federal offense. This is a federal offense, is what you're saying.
But like, it's basically like you can't say, bomb on an airplane, even if it was in a sense of like, I sure hope there's not a bomb on this airplane right now, Like, you're not saying that you have a bomb or anything. Just don't say that. You know what I mean? So I do think the way people have taken it is not the way that he meant it. I do think there was a way that he meant it that like is understandable, but still, just do not utter those words into a microphone.
It's like yelling fire in a fireworks stand.
Yeah.
Like it just doesn't
And so I guess enough beating around the bush for it, and I'll just say it. The quote was, the wrong player gets injured, and that very quickly puts us in a situation that I never want to have to contemplate, and that is trading number 15, obviously in reference to Nikola Jokic. That was the owner of the team, Josh Kroenke, who said that, and who is very close with Jokic. Those guys are very close buddies. And obviously, I think what he means by that is that he doesn't want to be in the situation where we can't be good enough for Jokic. And then Jokic, looking around, says, well, maybe I should explore other options, or like maybe you should find a trade for me because I can't win here. You know, he's not saying that they would ever make the decision to trade him. It's just he's talking about the situation of like kind of the Giannis situation right now, which people have speculated, like, what if Giannis goes to the Bucks and asks for a trade? If that were to be the situation for the Nuggets, that's what he is fearing, and he doesn't want us to get in that situation, which is understandable. That's an understandable thing to not want to be, or not want to have happen.
No, to be a small market with a asset that you can't replace. It is an irreplaceable. There's no. A team said you can have every single first round pick that we can legally give you from now until 2050. You are not going to get your value back with how insane Jokic is.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you will still lose that trade.
Yeah.
Not guaranteed, but odds are you will still lose that trade.
Yeah. No, for real.
Because that's like there's like the potential that's like the Patriots having to watch Tom Brady win a Super Bowl in a Bucks jersey. Or if the
or maybe even worse,
Bulls would have been even stupider and were like, Michael Jordan wants to come back. They don't let him come back. He goes and wins 3 rings. The second three-peat is with the Pistons. Like, it's that level of insanity, stupidity, where a potential GOAT, if not of an era, of an ever, is playing for a different team. But, like, that's crazy. Like, I feel like the philosophy should be, in Nuggets facilities, the words trade and Jokic are illegal to put in the same sentence.
Yeah, I agree.
And maybe that's why he said number 15, because it's already illegal to say Jokic. They just need to tweak their bylaws to make insinuating it also illegal.
No, yeah, for real. I do think that that's a quote he would like to take back, obviously, even before all of the reaction to it.
If that's like a pre-recorded interview, he'd be like, hold on, let me retool that. That's not. For sure. Because the reporters' faces all had to be like, where did we jump? What bridge did we take? How did we end up here? We were like going down a regular off-season interview after like a kind of a weird season because they blew it up right at the end, but it ended up working for them. Literally almost took down the Thunder if Game 7 wasn't so ugly. People would probably remember the series as close as it actually was. Like, and then all of a sudden we're like, I mean, we might blow it up. We might do it. It makes me think of the, like, Shane Gillis, the comedian. There's like a skit where he's like sleepwalking as a cop and he puts a gun in his mouth and then starts like freaking people out and pointing guns at people. It just feels like a random turn like that. Like, it feels like it's a skit. It doesn't feel real. An unprovoked, I'm going to press the nuclear option, but I'm nuking myself.
No, like, that's a very good description. If that's what he meant, which I don't think it was. I think he just delivered it very poorly. What he meant to say was basically, I don't want to be in the situation where Jokic is asking for a trade.
But also, on another note, I feel like the Nuggets are already in that hell. There's already a world that happens because of the situation they find themselves in. Like, already.
Right now? Or if a player gets hurt? Like if Jamal, because that's what I'm
saying that I feel like right now, if a player gets hurt again, they are already potentially in that nightmare scenario.
Yeah, but at least if they're not in the second apron, there's more roads to fixing things around Jokic. You know, like you can still maneuver things a little bit in a way that convinces Jokic, like, hey, we still have a plan. You know, I
also thought moving forward, what they should do is there should be like they can agree on a CBA that doesn't make that many changes. This next one, but then CBAs need to be implemented 5 years after they're negotiated. So front offices can prepare for the stupidity of the new rules.
Yeah.
No, because the Thunder, the Celtics, the Nuggets, I'm trying to think of another team. Essentially, if you have multiple assets that were like, oh, these guys are pretty solid, but one of them's a fringe all-star, you're just screwed because of the new season. And I've already gone on a rant. A minutes of my life have been spent saying, this is stupid. Why are we punishing, not even necessarily homegrown, like drafting, but like developing guys that you're just going to lose because you can't give them the money they deserve? Like, this feels like anti-player development by a team.
Yeah.
Because like,
but it was voted upon by all the NBA owners. So
probably because they didn't think. They were just like, okay, whatever.
I think it's because it gives them a built-in excuse for not spending into the luxury tax.
And maybe it's because we haven't seen that yet. Like, we haven't seen like a Jaylen Brown level guy not get paid. And maybe that's why like my brain is like, this feels terrible.
Well, we did just see it with Nico Harrison he said, I don't know if we wanted to give Luka the Supermax.
Okay. And also this quote, the first thing that popped into my brain is Adam Silver as Grima Wormtongue in Lord of the Rings, whispering into NBA owners' ears, being like, you have to send him to a bigger market. Chicago is 90% Serbian. Send him there. True. We will give you a first-round pick for someone that will be nowhere near as good in the long term.
And Josh Giddey.
Like, no, like it's that's just my thing. Is I'm just like, that's the first thing that popped into my head, because I will, unless something dramatically like changes, and a new piece of information comes out that like Luka tried to like. Never mind. I'm not even going to make up a dumb rumor like that because it'll just sound bad. But like, unless there's something egregious that comes out that Luka like told him like, screw you, I'm going to do what I want. I'm the only reason you make money. Like some sort of giant character flaw. That's not possible because Luka's not that type of human being from all things that we would know.
Yeah, also, if there was something like that, I feel like it would have come out by now with all of the hate that Nico Harrison has been getting. Like, his camp would leak that information if there was that information to exist.
The only logical explanation that I can keep concluding is Adam Silver decided that Luka needed to not be in Dallas. That's the only thing that I can draw. That's the only
Nico
thought.
Harrison is just an idiot.
I don't think that's possible. That makes less sense than there being a rigged back puppet.
It does make less sense. Yeah,
like there's like a cabal of people pulling strings, and the buses were like, "Oh, we want to see this happen." And Amstel's like, "Well, you have to sell your majority stake." I'm like all in on this like rabbit hole in my brain. Like I've had dreams about this, where the reason the buses are selling their majority stake is because it was part of their requirement for getting Luka. Because Adam Silver wanted someone that he handpicked to own the Lakers so he could keep being a lizard person. I'm like so deep into this, like I'm convinced there's no way. I have too much faith in the human race to think that Nico Harrison could be that mentally ill to trade Luka. I like how we turned it back to this thing that we talk about all the time. But man.
Is he just getting paid crazy under the table to... Like, because he's ruined the rest of his life, like forever now.
I don't think Elon Musk has enough money, or if he's a human with a soul, to be like, I'm going to do this to the people of Dallas. I'm going to do this to the fans of the NBA. Yeah. I'm going to do this to my family. His kids should be on suicide watch for the rest of their high school lives.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to make like light of it, but like legitimately, if I was in Dallas, Texas, and I went to school with one of Nico Harrison's children, I would make their lives suck.
Yeah. Yeah. So
I would be a bully.
To me, it makes more sense that, like, at least from that route of things or that line of thinking, that that he is like at least somewhat innocently dumb about, like he doesn't understand the gravity of what he did. You get what I mean? Because if he did understand the gravity of what he did, why would he sign up to do it? Why would he be like, yeah, I'll be the fall guy for this? It doesn't make a lot of sense. But I think both things could be true at the same time. Like Dallas ownership, the new guy, and Adam Silver being like, oh, you don't really like Luka and you kind of want to trade him? Definitely do that. And here's what, here's a way that we'll orchestrate it. So it could be both things at the same time, you know?
This would never happen in David Stern's NBA. I'm just kidding.
It definitely could, honestly.
I think it definitely kind of did, except the other way. Like things not happening as opposed to being forced to happen. I don't know. It's just like, and honestly, I would like to think that I'm a pure enough basketball fan that I would have the same visceral reaction if Luka went to the Knicks or like Luka went to the Heat or like I'm
to
trying
the
to think
Celtics.
of other. Well, to the Celtics, I very clearly would be like, that'd be hard, dude. That'd be so hard. If like we just had to send like Jaylen Brown.
Yeah, that would be
Luka?
the equivalent. It'd be Jaylen Brown, a pick, and like Sam Hauser.
Well, that's Sam Hauser's kind of a big deal. That's honestly worse than Sam Hauser. Jordan Walsh
I was trying to
like
find a Max Christie. I was trying to find a Max Christie equivalent.
But I love them all too much, so like there's never going to be someone that I like. You could say someone that's perfectly equivalent on the court, but I emotionally just couldn't do it. But like even then, I'd be like, no, Jaylen, no. But it's Luka. Like, how can I be sad?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I'm like just so upset about this the more I think about it. And then the fact that they got the first overall pick has me more mad.
Yeah.
We were robbed. It should have been the Washington Wizards getting out of hell. That's what God would have wanted in terms of what should have happened with that first overall pick. The Wizards fan base does not deserve this
or the
plight.
Jazz. Could have been the Jazz. Could have been the Hornets. All those would have been
the
Pelicans.
Jazz did what they did with Donovan Mitchell. They had a lick of greatness. The Wizards have just been taking people's scraps, and the one crime that the Wizards did was decide to give Bradley Beal the equivalent of the moon. Like,
yeah. And before that, their fate was already kind of sealed with John Wall tearing his Achilles while he was already out for a year at that point with a different injury.
But then, like, but that's not the fans' fault. The fans have done nothing wrong. And I'm not saying that the Dallas fans have done anything wrong, but like
they have not.
The Wizards,
it feels like an injustice for that franchise to be, or that front office to be rewarded. Yeah.
But like you listen to a Wizards fan talk about basketball, and you know what year they hold near and dear to their heart? The year that they had Russ Westbrook get them to the playoffs. And they're like, that year was special to us.
21. Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, that year? That's the season that you remember fondly. This is probably how, like, we're in Nebraska. Like our dads, like, when we talk about, like, oh, man, that 2009 Husker team was awesome. And they're like, that's the year that you remember fondly? 2009 when we lost in the Big 12 championship? Are you serious?
Honestly,
I don't know. Anyway, we can get back to like your Nuggets corner thing.
That was a really good comparison. Yeah.
But I'm just like, the Wizards have had so much pain, and we'll talk about the draft more later, but like, the Mavericks being so stupid and then being rewarded for blatant stupidity irks me. I'm not even convinced that they didn't do something to Kyrie's Achilles so he would get hurt because he'd keep trying to win him games. Just I am, man.
Yeah. I have
Luka,
seen people.
I want Luka to be. I've never wanted a Laker to be so successful in my life. I want Luka to be so good.
I feel the same way.
And like, I prefer it's not for the Lakers, but it's whatever. I am what you call flabbergasted.
I am not okay with people manifesting Jokic to go there, though.
Also, if he goes there, I'm no longer watching the NBA. I am chips in. I'm getting a perfect March Madness bracket. I am no life in college basketball. I'm done with the NBA. Like, because look, like, one, Jokic is such a competitive human being from everything we've seen. That's like anti-Jokic. What his soul would want. Granted, playing with Luka, I'm sure he would love to do that, but like, that would kill all competitiveness. Because then it's like, oh, what random aging star that's already gotten their bag wants to go win a championship with the two people from Europe? And then it's like, oh, Giannis, you're done with your contract. Would you like to come win a championship with us? Here you go. Karl Malone in 2004. Oh, hey, sorry, Giannis, I'm not comparing you to Karl Malone. That was disrespectful on a character level. I just was thinking of an old power forward that later in his life won a championship. Sorry. Then like...
He did not, though. Karl Malone did not win a championship.
Did they win it the next year?
No, that was right after the three-peat was over. So
maybe there is.
Malone never won a championship. Yeah.
Duh, I'm so dumb. Why did I think that he did? Anyway, I need to calm down, take a couple deep breaths. Jokic is not getting traded. People manifesting that is disgusting. And they don't like ball. They don't like basketball.
Yeah. But people, I think, are reacting to it like saying like the owner, Josh Kroenke's dumb and that he, like, they think that he meant it in a way that he didn't, number one, is the thing. So they are basically, they're chalking him up as Nico Harrison 2.0 at this point. But these are just like random basketball people, casual fans that are.
Well, I also think the way the media reported it was gross. Like the notifications I got on my phone.
Yeah, the headlines about this all say it like exactly like people are taking it. Yeah.
And I'm like, if you listen to the actual whole quote, he just said something really dumb, but it wasn't like from a dumb place.
Yeah, like it makes sense. It's just you shouldn't say that. those buzzwords you should not say.
I'm sure after he realized what was going on social media, he like contacted Jokic. It was like, "Oh yeah, I know, you know." There is that. That's the only time those two words have ever came out of my mouth.
Yeah.
Outside of like when you first got here with Nurkic, like that's like the only time those words were ever in a sentence, and it was, "Do we trade?" And the answer was no.
Yeah,
because you're a dog. Anyway.
Yeah, have you heard that story? Of no. The story he's told about how he decided both between Nurkic and Jokic was they had a stats guy, one of their analytics guys in the Nuggets department at that time. Like he brought like these two player A, player B comparison thing in front of him, and so one of them was Jokic's numbers so far in his career, and the other one was like another player for the same type of sample, like the beginning of their career.
Yeah.
And he assumed it was Nurkic, but he was like, yeah, so who's that other guy? And it was Larry Bird. So it was like Jokic's
and that
numbers.
Analytics guy grew up to be Eric Spoelstra. Obviously, that's not possible, but that was, the type of meme I'm talking about. Have you ever seen those? Where it's like Kobe talking to like a white kid. It's like that kid grew up to be Abraham Lincoln. I would love to know what there's one analytics guy that's like, I'm why this man is still there.
Maybe
that'd be awesome.
Maybe it's our new GM, honestly, Ben Tenzer, because he apparently has been with the Nuggets. He started as an equipment manager, and he has basically had every single role imaginable in the Nuggets franchise.
He's the next Bolster, but not a coach, I guess. Also, but I feel like that would be a story you tell at this press conference.
Yeah, yeah. It's probably not him, but
if it was, I feel like that's a story that you would tell. Anyway, Nuggets fans, I think you should be able to breathe. I think it was just a fumbly tongue, a poorly worded concept that's nowhere near what, shocker, the national media. I feel like a Fox News dad be like, the national media doesn't know what they're talking about. But it's more like they just look for headlines that they can talk about. This is going to prepare yourselves, Nuggets fans, because this is what I get when like Jason Tatum Riley gets crapped on. It's going to open up Get Up tomorrow on ESPN and First Take, and they're just going to just vomit. Where should Jokic go? Because the Nuggets don't want him.
Yeah, exactly.
And then Stephen A. Smith will be like, I feel like Jokic would fit in really well alongside Karl Anthony Towns in New York. And then they'll say stupid stuff like that, and you have to listen to it for 20 minutes. Anyway, this is going to be out after that, but anyway, thoughts and prayers to all you Nuggets fans who are not mentally crazy.
No, yeah. That is...
including you, Logan.
Yeah.
Including you.
To go along with it, the other, the people who got interviewed in the press conference besides the owner, all of them just kind of seemed like giddy little boys that were just very happy to be given the shiny new jobs they've been given, which I understand the human element of like they've worked their, lives to get to this point. But then I also get all Nuggets fans being kind of like,
why?
You don't seem very prepared for the moment. Like,
also, arguably, if Kroenke would have had this weird nugget just of stupidity, get it? I feel like his excuse for why they hired two is also incredibly stupid. He's like, pretty much everything in our organization is a little bit unorthodox. Our best player, 41st overall pick. The way he plays the game, a little different. So everything about us is weird. Let's just make the front office weird. Let's just do it all weird. And I'm like, that's the reason we're rolling out.
Maybe
if we wanted Nuggets guys that do what I, as the owner, want, and so I put two of them there.
That might be a big. That's what some people's theories for sure is that Josh Kroenke is still technically the president of basketball ops in and of himself, because we actually don't have a president of basketball ops right now. We have a VP.
So is Kroenke the governor?
Yeah, he's the governor, but he's essentially been acting as the. But he said in this press conference that he won't be around every day anymore, like he has been since the firing.
Oh, I was like, he's been around the whole. Like, then what was Calvin Booth doing?
Oh yeah, no, he's
ever since the firing of those two.
Yeah.
Also, is Malone still just kind of pissy on the salty train? Has he been on ESPN randomly bad talking Jokic via like, that's why SGA's the MVP? Has he had any more weird moments like that?
Well, I also thought that was another thing that got overblown. He said that's why he's the MVP, which was true. He won the MVP.
I think the reason, well, this was before it was announced one.
Yeah, but everybody knew.
But then it was also, I think, because like SGA did it to the Nuggets, it also felt weird.
This was the Timberwolves series where he said that. He was not doing media for the Nuggets series. That would have been a big thing. Malone was not on TV during the Nuggets series. It was afterwards.
I thought it was the Nuggets series. But maybe I'm stupid.
But it was right after it though, so it did feel pretty fresh. Was it game one of like
the T-Wolves series?
I think it was game one, actually. It was either game one or game two. Maybe that's why
I thought it was the Nuggets. But that would Malone probably was not going to be in Ball Arena or Pepsi Center or whatever it's named. Ball Arena.
Yeah.
RIP Pepsi Center, but whatever.
I don't know if you saw him try to, like, the next time he was on TV for the next game, he was like, a lot of people back home are really mad at me right now. He was like, to be clear, Jokic would have been my vote for MVP. I was just,
Yeah.
Which I believe in, but yeah.
Sorry. I was going to say something useless. You finish your point because I'm really goose.
I was just going to say, I don't think he has anything against Jokic at all. I would
imagine not.
Josh Kroenke, though, quite possibly.
I would say quite likely. Whatever is a step above possibly. I don't want to say it's 100%, but like,
I think they got along pretty well during their time together. So I just think he was angry with how it happened for sure. Like
you could be homies with your boss, and if you get fired, you should be like, "Yo, what the heck, guy?"
Yeah. So I mean, there's definitely probably a little bit of hurt feelings there. But I think people kind of move on also. And I think he also is a guy that it will quite easily move on because he's going to have a lot of opportunities other places, whether it be in TV. I think he's going to be great on TV if that's what he decides to do full time. He'll be great at that.
I concur. I agree with you because he's got that spice that I think will be very entertaining sometimes. Kind of like the Van Gundy. Van Gundy had a little bit of spice to him. I feel like that'll be both of them actually. More. Hold on. I want to mix up my Gundy. Bald Gundy.
Jeff
has a little bit more. Jeff has a little more spice than Stan. But anyway.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. But that can conclude our little Nuggets corner here. We can now hop into some trade talks that have happened the last few days. It's weird how fast things have moved. Obviously, we talked last episode about the Bane trade, but since then, there's been two more pretty like blockbuster-esque moves that have happened basically during the finals. I think the Durant deal was the morning of the day the NBA Finals Game 7 was taking place, so Sunday. Yep. And then the Drew trade, was that last night? I think that was last night, right? Very late last night.
Drew was last night because I needed to be up super early this morning, so I went to bed super early last night, and I woke up to be like, oh, like happy, also sad. Drew's not a Celtic type of thing. Like I was both. I had mixed emotions. But the
So you want to dive into that? But then also KP was the other thing that happened.
And then KP came.
You actually just told me about that. Yeah.
Hours ago.
Before we started recording. So I still don't know quite. I mean, I looked at the details, but I've not fully absorbed them yet. So that will be one that I kind of
let's just go
process real
chronological.
time.
Granted, the first one's kind of the biggest one. So do we want to go opposite chronological because that's kind of their significance to the world?
Whatever you want to do is cool with me.
I don't care.
Okay. Well, we could start. Let's just do chronological. So Durant to Houston for Jalen Green and Dillon Brooks, and then the 10th pick and 5 seconds, I believe, was the deal there. So the 10th pick in this year's draft, obviously. My initial reaction to this was a pretty even deal. I've heard a lot of people on both sides, to be quite honest.
Which is so weird. Like the initial outcry I heard is like, Rockets got fleeced. And I'm like, what?
Mm-hmm.
What universe are we living in?
Yeah.
And then you verbalized it in a way that I never could because you just have a way with words, Mr. Magic Man. The point that you made about the growth of Amin Thompson.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Which is like, yeah, this is perfect. So instead of me saying your words, I feel like you saying your words makes more sense.
Yeah, I kind of feel like Jalen Green and Dillon Brooks were guys that were going to fit kind of awkwardly moving forward because they're on huge deals. And then also the roles in the Houston Rockets core moving forward is going to be filled better by one guy doing both of their roles at the same time. And that's Amin Thompson, being the switchable, just mess everything up defender like Dillon Brooks. And then also a guy that can be like an on-ball creator and a star on the offensive end, maybe even more reliably than Jalen Green, who's like, I take a lot of shots and I don't make a lot of them.
You were literally just like, he will do both roles at the exact same level in one guy on the court, opening another guy to do other things. So like have a big wing guard stopper, your Dillon Brooks kind of sort of guy, and you're like flamethrower offense. I am a walking, breathing bucket sometimes, but you'll get it more consistently. Everything about it just makes more sense. Also, the feel-good story of the forever Steven Adams is teammates again with Kevin Durant.
Oh, yeah. I didn't even think about that until right now.
I think it would have made me more happy if it would have been Russ's teammates with Kevin Durant again. Or, sorry. Scratch that. If Steven Adams and Russ were teammates again, because they had that, like, those years.
Can still happen. All three can happen. Russell Westbrook is a free agent.
There is not a universe. We are more likely to see Luka get traded back to the Mavericks because the Lakers feel bad about what they did to Dallas than we are to see Russ Westbrook suit up on the same team as Kevin Durant. That's not like the Team USA seniors in like 20 years.
I don't know. They hang out every once in a while from what I see, but
whoa.
Like they've buried the hatchet, at least publicly.
At least like they don't like full on hate each other. I will kill you.
They both were sitting together at a Colorado game, I believe, or it was Broncos game. Some football game in the state of Colorado.
It was probably stupid Colorado Buffaloes because people think it's cool to go to those games, not for some dumb reason.
Yeah, it was Russell Westbrook, Kevin Durant, and Peyton Watson. Those were the three. Because Peyton Watson's a UCLA guy with Russ, so that's why.
Oh,
they didn't go there at the same time at all, obviously.
That's an insane trio of humans.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, I guess they both UCLA, both Nuggets. Yeah. Is Strother the one that had the sick AI Denver jeans, or was that Watson?
Yeah, that was Julian Strother. Mm-hmm.
So he's not even like, I don't know. That's just a weird trio, but cool, I guess. Yeah, I don't know. But like the KD thing, what I don't get is why people were so like, this is so dumb for the Rockets. And I'm like, why? Like, what's so dumb about it? Other than the fact that it does it, like their window obviously is not KD's window. Their window is like down the road. But like, you're not going to get Giannis. That's very clearly not an option. So like,
and they were the do 2 seed this year.
You're the 2 seed. Try to win now. And let's say you don't get the championship you want. KD takes you on a deep playoff run that type of experience, granted, this year's a weird year, is almost required to win a championship.
Mm-hmm.
So you need some sort of a playoff run or a semblance of a playoff run before you can get over the hill. Again, this year is different, but like the Thunder had it was a championships, wasn't it? Western Conference Championship last year? No. They lost in the second round. The Thunder.
The Thunder? Oh, they were lost in the second round to the Mavericks.
Yep. They didn't have a super deep run last year, but I'm just like, I feel like it's like a requirement in the history of basketball to have some sort of a heart-wrenching loss, at least in a conference finals, to be able to finally get over the hill.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes multiple, depending on a bunch of factors. I don't know. I think it's just weird. I just think it's weird. Like your Nuggets had one in the bubble, that deep run where they just like Game 7 was literally their favorite words. I mean, which is normal as a basketball fan, but as a player is crazy.
Yeah.
To be like, I need my heart rate to be the actual sky.
Back-to-back 3-1 comebacks.
Yeah, just crazy. But I'm saying like teams that win championships have these deep runs where they get tested, they get beaten, they get battered around. And maybe that's the Rockets. KD like helps the Rockets get to that before Amin Thompson comes online and turns into the nightmare like superstar level guy he might be.
Yeah, like Scottie Pippen crossed with Tracy McGrady. Like, which is obviously the pipe dream of like the pie in the sky.
But you know what's crazy? What? You know what's absolutely crazy? That's like a world. I mean, I don't think it's maybe the world we live in, but there's a world where that's the reality. That Amin Thompson turns into that.
Yeah.
Where it's like Scottie Pippen with like lockdown defense, put me on your best whoever, I don't care, I'll do it. And then being like one of the most purest buckets ever. Mm-hmm. Oh, and who could be a hypothetical?
Like, his best skill right now on the offensive end is passing also. Like, just throw that in there.
And then my other thing is like, I feel like there's like a mentorship level of in every NBA locker room, having a guy that can mentor the younger guy is a big deal. If you want to transform Amin Thompson into more of a bucket, who possibly better to pair him up with the archetype for the future assassin scorer?
Yeah.
The bucket, the Durantula, the Slim Reaper, Kevin, middle name Durant. I feel like I should know it, but I don't know it.
I feel like it's like James or something. I don't know.
Or is that because you think Kevin James from Grown Ups?
Yeah, maybe that. Kevin Durant. I feel like I've heard it before. What is his middle name?
Wayne.
I was not even close. Well, James and Wayne, that's like a half rhyme.
Also, I did see something kind of sad, though. As Kevin Durant makes it to a red team, he has the Shaq rainbow now. I like how there's like the picture of Shaq in all those different uniforms of the rainbow. Because of the Supersonics, KD has a rainbow now.
Okay.
It's kind of hard because you have to play for the Suns to get the purple. I guess, or the Jazz, as they've incorporated purple back
and
into
Kings
their colors.
And Lakers.
Just kidding. I'm so stupid. It's not even funny. I'm one of the dumbest people alive.
They don't really wear them anymore, but
they did. I am stupid. It's been a long day, folks. We're not even to the part of the episode I prepped for. This is all just for fun. Anyway, but no, I like this trade for both teams. I think it does good for the Rockets. I think it does good for the Suns because the Suns can't turbo tank. Same thing with the Bucks because they don't have their own picks. So there's like
one of this pick that they just got, the 10th, is actually their own, but they already had the season that got them it. So it's like, you know, it's not really future.
But like them and the Bucks can't turbo tank.
Yeah.
The only thing that's kind of weird is like the Suns could start 5 shooting guards, which feels a little weird. Like, why do you have so many?
Oh yeah,
it's like
they do have
the
Grayson
Kings,
Allen, and
it's like the Kings and centers. Like from like, why would you do that? Stop getting centers. Or the process era Sixers where like, we'll just take the best player available, but it was like kept being a center. Yeah, like, you have Joel Embiid. Don't take Nerlens Noel. don't take. Oh, what are we doing? Stop. Go back. You have a top 5 pick. Stop using it on a center.
Yeah, or the Knicks that one offseason when they signed like 5 power forwards. Yeah.
Was that like Quincy Acey era Knicks, or was that later than that?
It was Julius Randle's first year. So it was Julius Randle, Noah Vonleh, and then like 3 other guys. I can't remember who they were.
Why would my brain go, when Quincy AC was a Knick?
Was he ever? I think he was, wasn't he? Or is that... Yeah, Quincy AC
Kyle
was.
O'Quinn. I might be mixing him and Kyle O'Quinn as the same person.
I mix them up all the time, too.
The fact that you do makes me feel way better.
I think Kyle O'Quinn was I think they were both Sixers at one point. I want to say they were both Sixers.
Honestly, I pulled up a picture of Quincy AC and...
Raptors? I'm not looking. I'm not looking at anything. But I think he was a Raptor.
He started as a Raptor, then played for the Kings, the Knicks in 2015.
Okay.
Which makes sense. That is the 2K I have the most time in.
Did he play for the Sixers?
Yeah, when he was a Knick.
No, the Sixers. Did he play for the Sixers?
That is a negative Ghost Rider. He played for the Nets.
Okay, so it's just Kyle O'Quinn that played for the Sixers.
He had 2 stops in Sacramento, played in Dallas, and for the Suns.
Wow, he put in a lot of places.
Yeah. Total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 stops, 7 stints.
Nice.
Count with my toes on that one.
Yeah.
Sorry, Logan, you're going to have a lot of editing to do in this one because this is just...
Honestly, a lot. I mean, yeah, there's been a couple parts that I need to cut for sure, but... Quincy
AC only played for 4 teams.
Kyle O'Quinn? We were just looking at Quincy AC.
Kyle O'Quinn. He also... Did he just not play for some years? Nope, he just didn't play for very long. Yeah. Orlando from 2013 to 15, the Knicks from 16 to 18, the Pacers in 19, Knicks. And then the Sixers in 2020.
Okay.
But it's like the... How do I just... I'm gonna stop. Bald with the beard look.
Yeah, for
sure. Those 2 guys kind of got it locked down.
And Quinn. And their name also, I think, is the thing. Quincy AC and Kyle O'Quinn.
That went straight over my head. That didn't even process.
I think that's one of the main reasons I mixed them up as well. Combined with the shaved head, big beard.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, that was a wild tangent. One of our wildest in a while. But the trade we're talking about, Durant to Houston, I think it's a great trade for Houston. The only downside of it that I was thinking of before is the one that you kind of just laid out with the window thing of it accelerates their timeline, but it might just keep them just short of being like a real championship caliber team. But, I tend to lean on the side of just be really freaking good and get Kevin Durant because that makes you a good team. And it helps the exact need the Houston Rockets had, which was we need a bucket getter. We need a guy who can just go get a bucket. Jacob is reacting crazily to something.
Jordan Poole's in New Orleans now?
Like, did that happen today? Okay.
Jordan Poole and Saddiq Bey.
Saddiq Bey he's not even in the NBA, is he?
Well, he's a trade asset, I guess.
I thought he was gone. I feel
like this guarantees the Wizards are going to draft Ace Bailey now.
The Wizards will? Is that what you're saying? At 6? Is that what they have, right?
Yeah, because like his whole thing, and from all the reports I've read, it's more his... We'll talk about this when we get more to the draft. That will be the trade that transitions us into draft talk.
So, sorry, Saddiq Bey. I'm just looking at this really quick. Where was he? He has not played a game for Washington, but he was traded from the Wizards just now, I guess.
Contract, maybe?
Was he in the KP deal?
No.
No? Okay. He wasn't one of the moving pieces there. Because the last place he played was Atlanta. That was the last time he played in an NBA game was for the Atlanta Hawks in 2024.
The Saddiq Bey trade happened before the KP trade happened.
Oh, did it?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, this is 8 hours ago. All right.
I just hadn't seen it yet.
Yeah, I don't have any notifications on my phone at all, so I tend to find out pretty late compared to other people, but that's just the way it goes. Yeah, so the Pelicans are trading CJ McCollum and Kelly Olynyk and a future second-round pick to the Washington Wizards for Jordan Poole, Saddiq Bey, and the number 40 pick, which I don't really get from either side, really. honestly.
No, I think essentially for the Wizards, what it does is I really think they're
just collecting old people.
No, but Ace Bailey has talked about wanting he wants a runway, feel himself out in the NBA.
Yeah.
And I feel like the Wizards being like, if we get rid of Jordan Poole, the runway is literally as wide as you want it to be.
I suppose. I don't know if Jordan Poole was a deal breaker for Ace Bailey to go to a team.
I don't. But maybe there was some sort of an issue with that because Jordan Poole would just do Jordan Poole things.
Yeah, no, for sure. That I agree. Which he had a bit of a bounce back year last year compared to his first year in Washington, which was horrendous. Was still on a bad team, obviously, but did look a little bit better. But yeah, McCollum is still going to be a pretty, on-ball guy, a guy that's going to have a lot of reps on the ball. But yeah, more of a veteran guy that has a higher IQ,
Also,
with the game.
Almost got to be done.
Yeah, he's probably like 33 at this point. 34.
He is 33, and he's 33. A small guard.
Yeah. But
I feel like there's
I had him as a sub all-star last year. He was on my sub all-star team.
I'm more just saying that there has to be some point where we find a cliff.
Oh yeah, no, for sure. But he's still a good, 24-4 type of guy.
Yeah.
Pretty reliable. And a really good shooter as well. So if you can shoot, you'll have a spot in the NBA at some level for quite a while. Anyways, yeah, so that was a trade that flew by the wayside. But Durant to Houston, though, the window thing that I was saying, the thing that was like the downside for Houston that I was thinking of at one point. But when I think of it further, I only really like it more and more for the Rockets because now you are kind of forcing Reed Shepherd to be more in the mix, without Jalen Green there.
Which is a good thing.
Yeah.
Reed Shepherd is the rookie of the year if he is on 29 other NBA teams. Okay.
Yeah.
There's some that he obviously wouldn't be, like the team that just won the finals, the Thunder. Yeah. Which I don't know if I said congratulations to them. I think
I noticed that a couple minutes ago that I was like, we didn't acknowledge the finals at all. But so
which we can you had a very good there is a stain on this finals. The Thunder deserve it. They built correctly. They were loved until people hated it. Mm-hmm. They were a loved team. Everyone was like, yeah, the Thunder, they're young, they're spicy. They got a coach with a fun name. Sam Presti's a goat in wolf's clothing. He's a dog.
Yeah. Is it a wolf in sheep's clothing?
Yeah, I was saying it because he's kind of a predator.
Oh.
And he's like, okay. No, I said that backwards. So he'd be a goat in wolf's, no, a wolf in goat's clothing. Because he's like, I win every deal I do, but I'm also the GOAT. It was a bad analogy. Let's pretend it didn't happen.
I like it. We just had to workshop it a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit research and development, R&D. Anyway, it was awesome of them to win that. I'm glad that they will escape this weird thing, which the Celtics had a little bit more, but any team that wins the NBA Finals gets injury luck. And no one's talking about the fact that the Thunder, not no one, most people are not bringing up the fact that the Thunder got pretty lucky with injuries, which is fine. I'm not complaining. I'm just saying when the Celtics won, they got just crucified, saying it was more fraudulent than the bubble championship.
Yeah. Well, I think that the Celtics run was more injuries than
Yes, but why did it matter? When the best team won the championship last year, it was only because of injuries. But when the best team in the NBA wins a championship this year, it's not that big of a deal.
I guess so. I'm sure there are people who just hate the Celtics and say what you're saying, that they say the Celtics wouldn't have won if all those people were healthy. I wouldn't go that far. I was just saying more so that it just feels a little disappointing or not super fulfilling when it's every team they ran up against their best or second best player was out.
Yeah.
So it's but like I still think the Celtics were the best team in the East at the very least. And I mean, the only team in the West that I felt like in my body, in my soul, I was like, I think this team is better, or they will beat them if they match up against each other, was the Nuggets. And that's a very biased opinion, obviously.
It made sense when they played head to head last year.
Yeah, in the regular season. And then obviously the Nuggets went down to the Wolves. And then, so then the Mavericks were the team that ended up in the finals against the Celtics. And what was the injury luck there, I guess? I guess Luka was a little hobbled. And then also just the Mavs were a bad matchup for the Celtics.
I don't, people just have always said it's just like injury thing. Anyway, I just wanted to point out that like Thunder also got blessed with a bit of injury luck.
Yeah. Like, did you want to document it or go through it?
I mean, we can. They would have destroyed the Grizzlies anyway, so there's no reason to even bring up the fact that Ja was hurt, like after game 1 or whatever game it was.
I think it was like game 2 or game 3. Yeah.
And then in their second round matchup, they got Aaron Gordon at the very end, like when things were getting spicy. He was hurt in game 6, and then the Nuggets got blown out in game 7, but like, who knows type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously,
he was playing, but he was not a factor at all. He was a decoy out there, essentially.
With how good the Warriors looked before Steph got hurt, there's a chance that's who they could have been playing in the Eastern or Western Conference Finals, and who knows how that goes. I still think OKC wins, and Jimmy was banged. Like, I still take the Thunder. I'm not trying to take away the fact that they won.
Yeah, they just would have been a better matchup. Yeah.
And then the East has obviously just the most blatant one. Tyrese Halliburton looked like he was going for a historic type of like, granted, we didn't get a lot of it. It was like, 6 minutes? Not even the first
7
quarter.
Yeah, 7 minutes.
7 minutes, but he was like 3 for 4. And there's
all of them were like 7 feet behind the line also.
No,
he was the other thing.
He was cooking with some sauce that we are unfortunately not going to be able to see next season because he was cooking.
Yeah, for sure.
Hold on. I also have a wild stat. Tyrese Halliburton, when he makes his first field goal attempt, which he did in that game 7, if he makes it, he wins 71% of the time.
Wow.
He has he's better per game by 6.5 points per game. He's better 22.9 as opposed to 15.4 if he misses. He shoots 52.7% from the field as opposed to 41.9.
Wow.
And from 3, he shoots 44.6% as opposed to 31.9.
That's crazy.
This was like the whole playoffs. No, this whole season. That was the whole season as a sample size. If he makes his first field goal, how much better he is. Like seeing that first one go in, the different type of a demon that he turns into.
Uh-huh. No, that's a good stat.
Shout out to my brother-in-law for sending me that one after. I think it was the
after he tore his Achilles?
No, he sent that way before. He sent it after, I think it was the Madison Square Garden like Magic.
Oh.
The first one where he won at MSG.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, game 1.
Yeah. But anyway,
it was an incredible playoff run from the Pacers. It sucks that it had to end that way. Yeah.
No, it stinks. It super stinks because like what ifs in sports suck. Even if it's not for your team, what ifs suck. What if Derrick Rose had bionic knees and like is Derrick Rose okay, I'm not gonna say something. I was like, is Derrick Rose the best bull of all time? That's not probably true. But like
yeah.
But like that's like those Pacers Heat battles that they had with like Paul George and LeBron. LeBron always went to the finals, but Paul George was always in it with the Pacers. Like the Bulls are in the thick of that. Like if Derrick Rose is able to stay healthy.
Yeah, for sure.
He was that crazy. Anyway, that's going down a whole rabbit hole. Congratulations to the Thunder. Congratulations to Thunder fans. Enjoy it. Your parade sucked. By the way, there was like 6 people there.
Did they already have it?
Yeah, it was today.
Oh, that's crazy. It was just 2 days ago that they won Game 7. Do they usually do it that fast?
I saw someone say I've seen more people at a like Halo 3 launch party at a GameStop than were at the Thunder parade.
That's so surprising. Because they pack out the Paycom Center every time.
Well, they did do a big thing at Paycom Center before, and it was really cool because Nick Collison got like a standing ovation. Because I think it was Aaron Wiggins was like, shout out to all the guys that wore OKC on their chest before we did to make it possible. And then, like,
Mr.
the cameraman decided to go rogue and just pointed at the only jersey hanging in the rafters. And it's number 4, Nick Collison.
Yeah.
And then everybody starts freaking out. It's a cool video. It's worth the find if you've not seen it yet.
Is he in the front office there now? I'm sure he's just like a mascot there on like just the rest of his life.
The way that I feel like it is like you can't keep playing basketball because our team's too good now, but we want to keep paying you because you are like the antithesis of everything we want to be. Would you just hang out? And I feel like he also probably does actually do something there.
He's a special assistant is what his job title is. Special assistant for the
You just
Oklahoma
still get paid by the order. You don't have to like do anything else.
No responsibilities. Yeah.
You just are paid to be around and be a mascot.
Yeah.
Which is awesome because a dude that's like, I'm not going anywhere. And I'm not that he was ever going to be like, I'm going to be raking in money other places. But I'm sure that he definitely like stuck around for less money sometimes and just was, I mean, good vibes. The tie over from Seattle. And he retired like 2 seasons. It was like recently.
2018 looks like actually.
It was before the bubble?
Oh, yeah. Just a couple years.
Maybe he just got his jersey retired. Maybe that's on my brain's crossing wires.
He did just get his jersey retired just a couple years ago.
Anyway,
like 2 years.
Congrats to OKC. It's a bummer the way that it ended. But nothing. OKC can't do anything about it. They didn't tear the man's Achilles. Also, what is up with Achilles? Like what the
this
heck?
is a record. I don't know if you heard this, but this is the all-time record for most Achilles tears, ruptures in one NBA season.
Also, no one should be legally allowed to wear the number 0. Everyone that wore 0 tore their Achilles. Everyone. Halliburton, Tatum, Dame. All of them. Achilles gone.
Achilles.
I don't know.
James Wiseman, DeJounte Murray, both of them aren't 0s, but those, all the ones that did them in the playoffs were wearing 0. That's crazy. And they're all stars too.
It's just more like, it sucks. And it's like the one injury that we don't have figured out. Like even ACLs are figured out better than they used to be. Achilles are like still super bad.
Yeah, I mean the rehab.
I'm not saying ACLs are fine, but like they can do more for ACLs now than they used to.
And you're much more guaranteed, essentially, of bouncing back, like almost better than you were before from an ACL. Achilles is still a little bit more of a crapshoot, and the recovery is more complicated for sure,
and longer and harder, and just
it can be longer. Usually, it is longer. Sometimes they're about the same.
I do not expect anyone that tore their Achilles in the playoffs to be playing next season.
Oh yeah, but also if someone tore their ACL in the playoffs, it would be not safe to assume that they wouldn't play at all, but it would not be a surprise if they sat out the entire next season.
Yeah. Anyway. Just
9 months to a year is about the recovery for an ACL. For Achilles, I'd say it's more commonly like a year to 15 months. But there were 8 Achilles ruptures in the 2025 NBA season. 2015 actually was the record before that with 7, I think. So,
and I think it's also, unfortunately, I feel like it's because of the names that were ruptured that it makes it like,
especially in the playoffs. Like, it's crazy.
And again, 2 of the 3 were nursing calf injuries. So maybe we should just treat calf injuries with more seriousness. And I get it. It's the playoffs. That's like not the time where you're like, I better sit, just to make sure.
Yeah. No, for sure.
I mean, Halliburton took it easier in game 6. He didn't go crazy. He stopped playing when he could, when they knew it was over, the game,
Yeah. I think I've finally arrived to the party. I'm pretty late to it, but I'm finally joining the train of the NBA should just play less games in the regular season. I think that would be a benefit. But owners are just not going to do that because they love money, and getting rid of games to them, it's like getting rid of all this revenue. Like, why would we do that? And so, like, the in-season tournament, that was actually proposed to the NBA owners as a solution, or as like an excuse, basically, something to make them be okay with shrinking the number of games in the season, because it would help financially make up for the lost money. But then they were like, how about instead we just do both?
Uh,
So
Bill Simmons has a great. I need to find I don't know which pod episode it is. He doesn't number them, so it's like hard to find it again. He had a great breakdown, and he's done them a couple times where like the perfect number of games would be like a 54 game season, and you could like perfectly triangulate it between the NFL, and then you'd like end the season a little bit later, so it would like fit in between you'd start. I think it was like Christmas would be when you'd start. And then like that weird beginning where nobody really cares would end right after the Super Bowl. And then your trade deadline would be like March Madness. All-Star break would be March Madness week. Like that big week where everything's going on. And then it would like kind of... there's like all these little figures and math and thing he does. Because the only thing that you're fighting against then is baseball for huge chunks of your season.
Yeah. I feel like it should start in December. And then... I think like 70 games would be a good line.
Or maybe, I can't remember what number of games he said like worked out. Or essentially it's like the exact same amount of rest and it's just less games.
Oh, okay.
And then I think he said like make the in-season tournament thing be like an actual dumb little tournament where everybody goes to somewhere, and maybe it was Vegas because he's a big Vegas guy. I don't know. It's a good episode to listen to. It's like months old at this point, the one that I'm thinking of. But anyway.
Gotcha.
I'll see if I can find it for you, Logan, but I can't I guess you could like write it on the screen if I find it, like which episode it's called, but yeah.
But yeah, so I guess I don't remember exactly where we were. I think that was a tangent
that pretty much
within
wrapped
a
up
tangent.
KD. A tangent within a tangent within the KD trade discussion. The Celtics 2 trades kind of are probably the next things to discuss.
Yeah, well, I guess the Suns side of things, though, for the Durant deal, I don't know if we mentioned that at all, honestly. But, I mean, they got something out of it, at least. They got Jalen Green, Dillon Brooks, and the 10th pick, which... For
the closest to a distressed asset without being a completely distressed asset.
Yeah.
Like, KD was essentially that level of issue.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I think maybe they could have possibly gotten a tiny bit more, but not a lot. Like, I think this is about as good as they could do. So, I would give them, like, a B- on this one, because they're trading away the best player, obviously. So it's hard
like
to
a
give
B+ and a B-.
Yeah.
For both like they're both in that ballpark of like it works for both.
I honestly I'm bordering on like an A- for the Rockets, honestly.
Oh,
initially I was more of like a B to B+ maybe, but now I'm with the thinking of like Tari Eason and Reed Shepherd and all the guys on their bench that just like they needed playing time. Now they have it, you know, and they're not guys that's like, oh, we need to develop them. Like they are that, but also like they're really good right now. Like we know they're really good. They're not like the Nuggets young guys. That's like we need to see what they are, you know, and play them more. They're like actually really freaking good at basketball. So I like it for the Rockets for those reasons. And Şengün being with KD just feels like a nice duo.
It does, as well. Weirdly.
Yeah. And then we can move on now to the Drew Holiday for Anthony Simons. Trade with
2 future seconds.
Yeah. Okay. So this is the one that I do not understand at all. I might need like to talk to my therapist about it or something, even though it doesn't really affect me all that much. I am wearing though a Portland Trailblazers jersey at the moment, so I guess there's my tie in there. But I don't understand this for Portland at all. Not a little bit. They gave up picks and Simons to get Drew Holiday, a 34-year-old who's getting paid like over $100 million over the next 3 years. Explain it to me.
So the thoughts that I had were they don't care about money because they don't have they're not going to be butted up against any kind of money thing soon.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of paying DeAndre Ayton a bunch of money again so they stay above the minimum, they have a guy that's like not an active locker room cancer and is like a good positive guard role model.
That's true.
For Scoot and for
Shaedon Sharpe. And they just have a bunch of guards, and I feel like that helps. And maybe the little bit of defense will rub off on them. Like, hey, defense is cool. Maybe you guys should try it. Mostly to Shaedon Sharpe than to Scoot. But yeah.
And then the other thought that I kind of had and this is a big stretch, is I'm like, they were like close to the play-in, and maybe they're like, let's get in some play-in action, and this makes them better in a vacuum. Again, that's like really stupid, and I'm really trying to find like why the Blazers would do this outside of a Brad Stevens saying to, oh, don't tell me. I don't know if I'm going to be able to pull their GM out of my butt.
So do tell you or don't tell you?
Who is it?
Cronin. I can't remember his first name now. David.
Joe
it's
Cronin.
either Joe Cronin. Yeah.
Joe Cronin. I don't know if like it's like a, hey, I'm Brad Stevens. I will scratch your back, Joe Cronin. Now, I'll get yours later. I promise.
Mm-hmm.
Down the road.
Could be that.
We'll do something that's a little bit disadvantageous to us. And maybe Anthony Simons was like, once I'm done. I hate all of you. You're not my dad. Like, just mad. I don't know. He's on an expiring, so I'm like, just wait a year, guy. I don't know. It doesn't like, I'm obviously, I don't say happy about it. If just financial Celtics finance Jacob puts his hat on, heck yeah, dude. We're saving money.
This is obviously only about money for the Celtics, both of these deals.
That I like Drew was one of our missing pieces. He is why Banner 19 is in the sky. And it's not a figment of my imagination. Banner 18, sorry.
I was going to say,
on the next one.
I was about to say, I was like, I felt like it was 18. I trusted you on it, though.
No, it's definitely Banner 18 is in the rafters, and it's not a figment that I'm still chasing. And Boston's fate, he's a huge part of that.
Yeah.
But, like, he got paid for it. The money's just not coming from Wick anymore or the new ownership group.
Didn't they already sign him before they even started the season when they got him?
I think they had to.
Yeah, I think they extended him right away.
Which Brad
he
did what he paid for. He paid for himself in that magical silky white and green banner that he will forever be a part of. And obviously we can't retire Drew Holiday's number, but he's on my wall of like dudes that like whenever I think of his Celtics, I'll just think of him. Like whenever I look at it, I'll be like, it's Drew Holiday. That's my
Celtics number 4.
Yeah, that's my 4. It's Drew Holiday.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's fair. What you know what Simons is going to be? Is he going to wear 8 maybe since KP's gone now?
I don't know.
We can tackle both of these at the same time, honestly.
Because honestly, they feel the same. Both the trades are like kind of whatever's for the other team. Like for the Celtics, they're just getting rid of
the Hawks a lot.
Unless the Tingus Pingus disease exists still.
I suppose, but what else are you doing if you're the Hawks? Just getting like the possibility of Kristaps for what did they give up exactly? Can you fill me in?
Okay, I need to make sure that I get the who's and the what's. It's correct.
I know Niang.
The Nets are also part of it. So Niang and a future second is going to Boston.
Okay.
Kristaps and a future second is going to Atlanta. And Terrence Mann and the 22nd overall pick is going to Brooklyn. So the Celtics sent away, I believe it's a second in Kristaps.
Okay.
The Hawks would have sent away
the 22nd pick.
Niang in the 22nd.
And Terrence Mann.
And what the fuck did the Bucks send? 1 pick? 1 second round?
The Nets or the Bucks?
The Nets. Hold on.
The Nets gave up a pick, I'm guessing.
Just 1 pick? 1 second round pick.
Well, what did they get? All they got was what? Terrence Mann?
Terrence Mann and the 22nd overall pick.
They got the 22nd pick?
The Nets have the 22nd overall pick.
Okay, so yeah, feels like they must have had to give something up.
Maybe they gave up both seconds, but that still feels crazy. And maybe it was a weird salary thing.
No, for sure.
Terrence Mann was in Brooklyn.
No, Terrence Mann was in Atlanta.
No, he's into Brooklyn now.
Oh, he went to Brooklyn. Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Oh, duh. We already knew that. But no, yeah, we already know that. Was
Niang in Brooklyn and I'm stupid?
No, Niang and Mann were both in Atlanta.
So you're telling me that the Nets gave up...
The Hawks got Terrence Mann for Bogdanovich at the deadline, and they got Niang for DeAndre Hunter at the deadline.
The Nets just performed alchemy. They turned 2 future seconds into Terrence Mann and the 22nd overall pick.
What is going on? This deal and the Blazers deal, like that, the opposite way though. Felt like the Blazers
Nets just performed alchemy. To quote, what's his name? Who was the guy who had that legendary Luka rant and said Nico?
Joe House.
Joe House. No, because the way that I'm reading it, Niang in a second to the Celtics. Kristaps in a future second to the Hawks. What? I need like a team where. Also, did we talk about this in the last part? Shams sucks.
Yeah, we did talk about that last time. That was how we closed. Hawks receive Kristaps Porzingis and a second round pick. I don't know why they're not specified. It would help.
The Celtics are sending Porzingis and a second round to Atlanta. The Hawks are sending Terrence Mann and the 22nd overall pick to the Nets. Atlanta will also send Niang in a second round to the Celtics. The Nets reportedly gave up nothing in the trade? Then why are they there?
I have no idea. How? Just because they're helping facilitate it, I guess.
What are they facilitating? They gave up nothing.
They're taking the salary to allow the Hawks to take on Kristaps.
Oh.
And
so them taking on Terrence Mann,
which is not a negative asset.
No, it's like if they were taking on like Malcolm Brogdon, respectfully to former Celtic 6-man legend Malcolm Brogdon. That's like that's
you're right. This is like when like Danny Green when he was like 39, or like Al Horford when he was looked at as a distressed asset in Philly when they got traded to the Thunder. Like the Thunder took a first round pick and them. You know, like, and gave away nothing, obviously, to take the salary dump.
But it's like not
Terrence
even
Mann.
one. It's not that bad of a salary dump, and it's a guy they can flip.
Yeah,
Terrence Mann is going to play for the Clippers again. They're just going to send him back for more stuff.
I would like Terrence Mann on the Nuggets, honestly. Yeah, but the Celtics obviously couldn't take him because they were trying to.
Why did they get only good? Like, they were just given gifts.
It feels like too much for just simply taking on a
contract that's not terrible that you can move for more.
Yeah.
There's a world that they turned Terrence Mann into a first.
They also had to get the 22nd pick in the draft.
This draft is not, like, crazy great. It's not bad, though.
It's good. Yeah. I think it's a good draft.
Fine. Next year's better.
But I think, compared to last year, I think this draft is very good.
No, I'm more puzzled about this trade than I was when we started today now.
Yeah, I didn't understand it.
And I thought I understood it.
No, yeah, Terrence Mann is going to the Nets, and the Nets required to get, they were like, in order for us to take on Terrence Mann,
we want your first round pick, Hawks?
Yeah. That seems just like it doesn't make any sense to me, but okay.
And the Hawks were like, hold on, let me check. How many? Oh, Kristaps played 42 games last year? Let's send it. I don't know. That's just, and I love KP. He just was not, the things that you knew could be a problem, I will forever have the first quarter of game one. Forever. I will have that moment, and I will cherish it.
Yeah.
But what? He's not worth like a team strong-arming you into giving you your first round pick.
Yeah, it felt like, okay, this doesn't feel like an insane amount to give up for Porzingis to me. Like, I feel like it's more like a C type of trade in a vacuum. But it's just when you add in the detail of like the Nets' involvement in it, just like getting away from it with such a great return without having to provide anything other than like the salary relief. And it's like,
you gave us a guy that's like the second best player on our team now because we're so bad. You gave us our second option for next season, and we also get your first round pick.
No, at least to not exaggerate, Terrence Mann is going to start for the Nets. Like, he is a starting player for this Nets team. And yeah, he's, for some reason, what is his contract? I guess we've been talking about it over and over, and I have not actually looked at what his salary is. Maybe, I doubt it's going to change my mind on it. Yeah, it's $15 million.
Why did the Celtics not just take that? I would take Terrence Mann. How many years is left?
2 or 3, including this one.
Oh.
But it only goes up to 16. It's 15 and a half.
Also, maybe I'm crazy. I would rather have Mann than Niang.
Yeah. And that would just keep you slightly above the second apron, wouldn't it?
Above the second apron. It's all about aprons. Mr. Brad is just conniving and scheming.
Mm-hmm. And also, is Al Horford retiring?
No one knows.
Oh. I thought about that today. I was like, I wonder what Al's doing.
I'll cry.
All this
I'll
stuff
call him
going
to
on.
work.
Yeah. It probably would have been more of a storybook ending for him to ride off into the sunset after last season. Or,
but he was like also still like a dog. Like, again, the Al Horford moment I'll always think about is when the Luka Lakers came to Boston. No, the Celtics went there, and they just kept going at Al, and Al just held up. Just possession after possession after possession.
Same way he did against Luka in the finals.
Yeah, it's just like, I'm not you want to switch to me? Welcome to an island, brother.
Dominican Republic.
Welcome to the Dominican Republic.
Or Santiago. Or no, man,
That's Chile.
Yep.
San Jose?
No, the name of the island is
Dominica, I thought.
No, that's a different island. It's also in the Caribbean. Don't say anything. Hispaniola. There we go. That's the name of the island.
Definitely right.
Hispaniola is the name of the island that has Haiti and Dominican Republic. I'm glad I got to redeem myself there. That was a bit
Me and my wife are going there for our 5 years late honeymoon. Exclusively because Al Horford was born in the Dominican Republic.
That's why?
That's literally, she's like, where should we go? And I was like, I don't know.
DR.
She's like, what about Cancun? I was like, I feel like everybody goes to Mexico. And I was like, looking at like the list of places, and it's like, Punta Cana. And I was like, that's the Dominican Republic. Mm-hmm. My boy, if it's good enough for Al, it's good enough for me. That's where we're going. Anyway, completely unrelated thing that is irrelevant to basketball talk. Yeah.
The Terrence Mann thing, I guess. But yeah, KP going to the Hawks, I think is a good move for the Hawks. Obviously, they have a lot of injury struggles with Jalen Johnson missing all of last season, basically. I think he played like 36 games, I want to say. So basically in the same type of ballpark as KP.
The Hawks, the Nets have 5 first-round picks this year.
This season?
Tomorrow, the Nets will be able to choose 5 people if they so want.
All in a same little bunt. They have 19, 22, 26, 27. There's 4.
But if you like
they have 8.
If you bundle all that up with Terrence Mann, how high can you go? 3?
And they have 36 also. They have the 36th pick.
If you bundle all that up with Terrence Mann, can you get pick number 3? Pick 2?
I don't know if I would take that. That seems a little bit more like, a bunch of dimes for $1 type of thing. Like if I was Daryl Morey, that's definitely not a Daryl Morey trade. He would not do that.
That's true. That's very true.
Maybe the Spurs, I have no idea, but Dylan Harper, I think, is too good to pass on.
Honestly, watch Nico Harris just have a mental stupidity. He goes, well, we did have a problem with depth last year. I guess we could get a lot of guys that might be able to play.
Oh yeah.
We did have a depth problem. I mean, get some guys to play around AD, the greatest basketball player ever. Stupid. So dumb.
I like how when we first started talking about these,
they have the 8th overall pick.
Yeah, no, I said that. Yeah. I like how we first started talking about the Luka trade. You were the one that was like telling me to calm down about stuff, and now you're like crashing out about it, just like 6 months later.
Well, I also feel like, because what did you like? I remember people were crying in nightclubs, I think is what you said. And like had me like, okay, what are we talking about?
Where you first reacted was me saying like, this trade is bigger than sports, or like it's going to affect the world outside of sports. I think that's what I said. Yeah. Which I still stand by that. I don't know how you can't. Like
outside of doubt, like in Dallas, like it'll just, I don't know. It's just weird.
The Oxford Dictionary was clowning like Nico Harris. Like, like all these brands were making jokes about it. Like when Nico had that quote where he was like, we knew that Luka was important to the city of Dallas. We didn't realize how important. The Oxford Dictionary commented, we knew the letter E was important to the English alphabet, but we didn't realize how important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man.
But that's just the way things are. Yeah, we can move on from that. We haven't
even touched on the draft at all. Granted, the draft wasn't going to be
start to, but yeah.
We did. That's true.
Which we can move fully into that now. I think we very messily got through those trades that we wanted to talk about.
Yeah, it's not our cleanest.
No, not at all. But the cleanest isn't always, the best. Sometimes chaos, it makes the best content, So we'll see how that goes. But this is one thing I did want to bring up about the draft. I have a very vague memory of you like over a year ago saying something to me about a prospect that you thought might be picked late in the draft last year and saying that he was like, you compared him to Ant Edwards, but you were like, he's going to be a second round pick, but you're like, he's kind of like a great value Ant. It was that Cedric Coward.
No way. Did I cook? You might be right. Because he was at Eastern Washington, and then he ended up staying because his coach went to Washington State.
Uh-huh. Yep, he was at his third school now for his senior year. I don't want to
give myself credit. Do you think it was recorded? Like if I go back and rat and like listen?
I don't remember if it was in an episode or not. I just remember you saying that.
Honestly, I just want to give myself credit as yes, because I was aware of him as a human before this.
Yeah, but I feel like you were telling me about this guy that was like 6'5". You were doing all the Ant comparisons, and it was like, I just remember being like, I'll probably hear about him sometime. And then I thought back to that moment several times, like, who was that guy? I have not found a guy that matches. And then when all of a sudden when I heard Cedric Coward's name the first time, and it sounded familiar, and then I heard people describe him, and I read his scouting report, I was like, this sounds like the guy that Jacob was telling me about. Like, and I was like, Jacob is an oracle. I'm
gonna err on the side of caution, and we can find out about it when we meet with the Lord above, and he'll tell me if I was right or not. If this was, but like I knew who Cedric Coward was, but I don't know if it's because I knew about him because of that insane 6 games at the start when I was like, just love it, like because I feel like I've known about him for a while, but it was a while as in like the start of the college season, or I feel like I remember him at Eastern Washington.
Yeah, I feel like you were telling me about it in preparation for last draft. Like you were like, keep an eye on this name. Like he could be drafted, potentially. And it was like a long time ago. So
no, I was probably talking about AJ Storr, but then he ended up going to.
That name does sound familiar. I think that's probably who that was.
He ended up going to Kansas.
Okay, so who is this guy? Is he in the draft this year?
But then AJ Storr sucked. Oh no, he's not in the draft this year. Yeah, I definitely only heard about it's AJ Storr, 1,000,000%. 6'7", built big, kind of just a downhill MFer.
Yeah. College heights are always inflated a little bit. So he probably is about Anthony Edwards size then. Probably about 6'5" in reality. The collegebasketball.net or whatever sports reference page has him at 6'6".
But like for Wisconsin last year, because the people didn't know if he was going to go to he wasn't going to Wisconsin into the transfer portal, but he was like kind of in the draft.
Yeah, he's also on his third school, looks like.
Yep. He had 17 points per game, just about with Wisconsin. But then for Kansas, granted, a lot of Kansas's roster struggled, but he just didn't look like the same guy.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
AJ Storr is definitely who I was speaking on. Man, that would have been sick though if I was right.
It would have been cool. Yeah, sorry.
But I'm glad that I was noble and I remembered who I was actually talking about.
Yeah.
And
no, props to you for that. For coming clean.
Honestly, the fact that I'm stupid, the fact that I pulled, like I took all my brain power and put out the correct name, I'm almost positive now that I'm thinking about it that it was AJ Storr.
Uh-huh.
Because I was like weirdly high on him. Mm-hmm. I don't know why.
Yeah. But anyways, it just brings us a little bit into a guy that I've found it very interesting in my prep for this year's draft, which is not a lot of like actual scouting myself. I'll admit, like I've not dove into like actual game tape on a lot of these players. It's mostly just hearing a lot of other people's opinions and melting them together into like kind of forming somewhat of my own based off of, how much I trust these different voices that I'm listening to. And the description of the guys and, different types of skill sets and things that I like to kind of gravitate towards. Cedric Coward sounds like a guy who is going to be a guy that, traditionally is a guy that's going to be taken pretty late and going to be like the steal of the draft, who's kind of overlooked because he's older. But he actually ends up being like a really high upside guy. But it sounds like a lot of other people have just very rapidly started jumping on the same exact train of like Cedric Coward is a dog. And now he's being put on big boards all the way up in the top 10. So.
Well, I think it's because it feels like Anchorman, Steve Carell's character just yelling loud noises. That's what 3 through 9 feels like to me. No one knows what's going to happen.
Yeah, starting at 3 for sure.
Bailey started canceling all of his things, but people are saying, oh, that's his representation. He's actually a cool guy. He's not this diva that wants to have this runway. That's what his agents want. And then there's like, well, maybe you want more like potential to be like, because there's like a chance you could be good, but then like a more guaranteed like fringe all-star guys like the VJ Edgecombe. And then you got a lot of
D Wade or Victor Oladipo comparisons.
My personal beloved that I fell in love with is not going to shock you probably at all.
Okay.
Con Knipple. If there was a universe he could be a Celtic, I would want to go there today.
Yeah, I like Con Knipple a lot.
Because the best way I can describe it is he feels like a fourth-year senior, but he's 12. Like, everything he does is such like, oh, he's got to be a vet, right? Uh-huh. No. He's just your average Joe Ingles YMCA dad build, but he just gives you a bucket. He doesn't care who you are. Uh-huh. He's not like the best defender, but he puts his nose in everything. And gosh darn it, does he try. Yeah. And then the other thing is he's proven. Cooper Flag goes down, and he's like, Blue Devils.
Wins ACC tournament MVP.
Calm down, man. We don't need our flag. We've got this.
Uh-huh.
I'll hold down the fort while I need to. And he did. Man, I love Con Knipple.
Did you hear him on Bill Simmons?
I didn't. He was on Bill Simmons.
Yeah, just very recently, like last week. And yeah, what you just said about he is like a vet, everything he does on the court, the way he sounds too, like the way he talks, he sounds very mature and like put together. Like he's pretty impressive.
I will be purchasing a Con Knipple jersey with the one caveat of if he's a Sixer, I fucking absolutely will not.
Which that's I'd say like the top of his range, obviously at 3. But
no, because it's a 1.5 man draft. It is Flag unequivocally, and then it is Dylan Harper. And the reason I say 1.5 is because there's like a cliff between
the two guys.
And then there's like another little cliff, and then you have just a mudslide of like
who
maybe
I think would be in like a normal world would be Ace Bailey. I think more than likely, but with all of this drama of him not working, he hasn't done a single workout, and he did not go to the combine. So he's just like, don't change my draft stock either way, which is just kind of hurting his draft stock. Speaking of hurting your draft stock,
Jeremiah Spears is too small and sucks, and he should not be in a lottery pick at all.
I don't get why people are freaking out. So this isn't what I was about to talk about, but you just started talking about it. So, but his size that people keep talking about, he's 6'3".
He's 6'2". He's like 6'2" and a quarter at the draft or whatever they do. He's small.
I think I just saw it. Where did it go?
It like rounds up to 6'3", so it must be 6'2.5". But at the draft, the number was 6'2" something.
6'2.5", but that's also barefoot. Like he's a 6'3" guard in the NBA.
But like, I don't know. I just like how many.
I mean, I get that's small, but it's not. The way people talk about him sounds like he's 5'10" or 5'9". Like it.
I also think it's because you can play bigger than you are. He doesn't. He's
and also,
small and plays small.
And doesn't shoot
he's
well.
Not Steph Curry.
And he's turnover prone.
Yeah, like there's like a bunch of other things. But the fact that he has, but there's like an offensive explosive upside, but everything else is like, but you're also small. Mm-hmm. So you like can't, like, and then people are like, well, Steph's only 6'3". Yeah, that's like the greatest shooter to fucking breathe oxygen since the concept of basketball. So, like, why are we, like, trying to put him in that bundle? Because he's never going to get to that. That's insane.
We also just watched TJ McConnell, who I will bet my life is not 6'1". Like, be one of the most valuable players in a NBA Finals series.
But also, he is not, like...
Different type of player.
TJ McConnell is a completely different type of player.
Still also can't shoot, though. But in terms of the IQ
defensively,
and...
Yes, he has everything else. Uh-huh. And, like, you know what high IQ players don't do? Turn the ball over the most in your conference.
No, for sure.
I don't know. And I'm not saying that, like, I, like, hate Jeremiah Fears. Sorry.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But I'm, like, I'm out. I've got my short king that shoots threes already, and his name is Peyton Pritchard. I don't need anyone else around. I don't know. I don't like Jeremiah Fears all that much.
No, that's fair. That's fair.
And then also, outside of the top like 10, people will probably notice the only people I kind of have strong opinions about are Big Ten players, because I've watched a lot of Big Ten basketball in comparison to other leagues.
Mm-hmm.
But
which makes sense.
I like usually what I do is like I watch like the lottery, and then I know the people around where my team could actually maybe get someone.
Mm-hmm.
And then,
which I have none of that this year. Nuggets don't have a single pick.
That sucks.
Yeah.
But then and then I have like Big Ten knowledge from just watching Big Ten games. But yeah. Mm-hmm. Anyway.
And there's also only one forfeited pick this year, which is nice. Feels like the last few years there's been like 2 or 3 every year. But the Knicks with the 60th pick has been forfeited apparently. And then
is that because they didn't pay Jalen Brunson what he's actually worth? Because his dad is like in the front office. I said that sarcastically. I don't think they've actually been like...
They were investigated for that. But there was another thing they were investigated for. I think that was actually just the original Jalen Brunson signing when they signed him away from the Mavericks, because his dad was like tampering, you know.
They got
that might have been what it was.
Which is illegal.
Yeah.
Father's sons cannot do that.
Anyways, the segue I started.
Sorry, yeah. I've got a whole nother rabbit hole for the whole draft, but we do yours and then my rabbit hole will go.
Okay. Noah Essengay. This is the guy I started to segue into about the hurting your draft stock thing, because I don't know if you've heard this. The team he plays for in Germany, which is, I don't remember how to pronounce it, Ratio Farm, Ulm, is the team that Isaiah Roby, shout out to friend of the show, he plays for, which he actually broke his leg a couple months ago, so he hasn't been playing with them. But he was actually starting over Noah Essengay before he went down. But so Noah Essengay's team in Ulm in the German basketball league, they are in the finals right now in a best of 5 series, the literal championship of their league. It's tied 2-2. So they're entering game 5, which is essentially game 7.
Leaving?
And he's leaving to come to the draft in person and missing the game. If I was a GM and I had him like tied, if I had the 10th pick or like, 12th pick, something like that, I'd be like, you just made my decision for me. Like, I'm taking the other guy. Like, why do I want you?
Because you don't have a drive to win anything. You're just looking for the next thing.
Yeah.
So if I'm a bad team near the top of the draft, are you just out the second you get it, can get a chance to go compete for a contender because we're working?
This is a professional, like the top of the best league in Germany. Like it's,
which is still not like great in terms of Euro leagues. It's not like the same, but it's Bundesliga. It's the top of
Mm-hmm. It's one of the it's the level directly below EuroLeague. It's at those leagues. the French, the Spanish,
Yeah.
some leagues are better than others of those, but it's still the layer below, the EuroLeague in the structure. If you get promoted from the Bundesliga, the German basketball league, you go to the EuroLeague. That's the level above it. And yeah, so it's just kind of crazy. And then there's another teammate that is being drafted from their team. I haven't heard the same thing about him. So I sounds like he is not also leaving the team to come. And that is their starting point guard, Ben Saraf, I believe, actually. Ben Saraf, who is a Israeli-born player playing for the German league team that is in the finals there against Bayern Munich, I believe is the club that they're up against. But yeah, so I thought that was interesting too. Noah Essengay, another guy that I think Ryan Russillo really has a distaste for. Jake Howman isn't a big fan of him. He has him ranked at 22, which I still think is higher than Ryan would rank him.
And then there's also
a lot of people would put him higher than 22, I think.
The athletic guy also had him pretty low.
Oh, really? Okay. But a lot of places I've seen, like he's in the mocks, he's being mocked at like 9, 10, 11, 12 range. So, yeah. Another guy that I like, just to name another person, Kasparis Yakuchonis, the guy out of Illinois. I believe he's a Lithuanian. He's a 6'5" guard, really good passer. There's that Russian guy, Igor Demin at BYU, who looks like he's another, like a Josh Giddey type of player. He's also intriguing to me. I love tall passers. Those are some of my favorite guys. Danny Wolf, another interesting player. He's a Big Ten guy.
That is the man I want to be a Celtic.
Mm-hmm.
I love Danny Wolf because, like, he's not like, I wish he was the center more than he is, because he's more like a 4. But
but he's a good 6. He on the Ringer. He's listed at 6'10.5", which is like Jokic's height.
He's just so silky. Everything about him visually, and I can't remember which podcast said it, and it made me feel something in my bones. You look at him and you're like, that guy is going to move like Yao Ming. He's just going to be very like rigid. There's not going to be any fluidity to him at all. Mm-hmm. He's going to be a big, lanky, jerky movement type of guy. And then you watch him and he's just butter. He's like, he can take it up the court. He like has a 3-ball kind of, yeah. But apparently in shoot-around and workouts,
apparently I've heard that too. He's had
from the NBA 3-point line, he's been crushing it.
Yeah, his free throw percentage was not good though either,
which is not a great indicator.
But
I don't know. I just love Danny Wolf so much.
The shooting is the only kind of like red flag for me. Otherwise, I would be all in on like he would be one of my absolute.
But also, even if he's not a great shooter, even if he's fine enough,
for sure.
For my world, to do
still one of my top guys. Yeah, for sure.
I just like him a lot. I just do.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Also, I saw a mock draft that the Celtics will draft Ryan Kalkbrenner from Creighton. I will kill myself. If they do it 2 years in a row,
get Creighton guys.
I would hurt myself in ways.
I feel like you made excuses to try to get over the fact that Baylor Shireman was a Creighton guy. Obviously, like not excuse.
He's like from Aurora. He's from Nebraska.
Yeah, you try to look past it. Mm-hmm. Other ways that you could connect with him, like he grew up like 20, 30 miles. Probably a little bit more than that.
I can blindly follow Brad into any fire. I will struggle if he keeps doing this to me.
Yeah, but you need a big. You guys do need a big. Right?
But he's not an NBA big. He's going to suck in the NBA. He's going to be so terrible in the NBA. There's a reason he went back to Creighton. He is going to suck. Why would we use first-round draft capital on someone that Stevie Wonder knows was going to suck in the NBA? By looking at him.
You said the same types of things about Zach Edey in his senior year. And
he did suck. Except he can hit the accelerator on a vehicle super good. Shout out to Zach Edey, 101 in a school zone. I'm not kidding. I don't think it was in a school zone, but Zach Edey got a ticket for going 101. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he got pulled over going 101.
Regardless, he did not suck in his rookie season though in the NBA. He was very good. He's an all rookie, like lock. You look like you have a contradictory thought on that.
No, it's more that I don't think that Kalkbrenner and Edie are like.
Okay, yeah, but I was just making. I feel like there's more room for like the traditional bigs, and it feels like we're starting
not in Boston. What is Joe Mazzulla going to do with Kalkbrenner?
Can he not shoot?
I mean, like, I'm a hater, so no, but.
He might not be able to, actually.
No, he's gotten better as a shooter. He's probably like 33%.
Guess what his main player comparison is in the Ringer draft guide?
It's KP, probably.
Luke Cornett.
No! Yep. Don't even put them in the same world. One is so beloved.
Kosta Koufis, Luke Cornett, and Timothy Mozgov.
Dude, why would you want to draft a guy where there's only one good comp? Only one guy you want on your team?
Well, at their peaks, all those guys were good NBA contributors. Well, I mean, Mozgov and Kosta Koufis are both better than Luke
Cornett to free agency and I get Kalkbrenner as a replacement, no, I'm getting mad
if you
now.
Lose what? If
we lose Luke Cornett to free agency,
and
I have to watch Kalkbrenner fill his minutes,
yeah,
that's the worst possible outcome. That's not true.
Jay Calman really seems to like Kalkbrenner. Like, he's a lot higher on him. But
Jay Calman has not had to deal with years of stupid Creighton people.
No, I guess that's true. He's a Kentucky fan. So probably doesn't really have any overlap there.
I need to breathe. Trying to think if there's anybody else. Oh, I want Walter Clayton Jr., guy that I was very big on because he's fun to watch.
I watched him just completely dominate in the tournament.
It was very fun. Yeah. That would be cool. Fun story. Florida. He goes to Miami. That'd be cool.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to think, looking through this list of names. The second round is going to be so lame this year. Like, they need to make it the same day again.
It's a different day. Yeah, I was going to say that. Which I like. I kind of, it just being able to split up so you can focus more on each pick.
Who are you going to care about in the second round this year?
Well,
without a catastrophic drop.
Well, that's the thing. I feel like there's always at least one guy that drops down there. That's you were expecting to go like top 25-ish at least. But I mean, Kalkbrenner would be another name that's probably going to be taken second round. Maybe
I will not turn on the TV for the second round if that's the name that it was like, where's he going to go?
I like the other Ulm guy. It looks like all the big boards, or not big boards, but the mock drafts have him going early second round. The Ben Saraf guy.
There's just no Bronny this year type of guy.
Which I never really cared about Bronny in the first place.
But people did in general.
People did, yes, yeah. But you asked me why I would turn on the TV.
I'm trying to think if there's like any Chucky Hepburn.
Is he in the talk?
I think he'd be in this draft. Or he'd be close. I don't know if he's going to get drafted, but I'd imagine he's like somewhere in there.
He's in the talks.
And like the end of the second, probably.
Yeah. The Ringer's draft guide does not have what's his name? Why am I blanking on his name?
Charlie Hepburn?
No, the best player from Nebraska this year. Nebraska, like the Cornhuskers, University of Nebraska. The guy who we won the crown. The best
Bryce
player.
Williams?
Bryce Williams. There we go.
Yeah, because that's fair. I love him, but that's fair.
What is fair? That he's not in the top 45?
100% in the top. I don't even know if he's in the top 70.
Oh, really? I thought I heard people talking about him I think he was on the NBA draft, mockdraft.net at one point. Yeah, he is right now. He's drafted or mocked to go at 49th to the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Really?
On NBA DraftNet. Yeah.
Oh.
Which is not always the best place, but it's one of the places of all time. But yeah, so there's that, I guess. But there was something you were going into about a little while ago. I cut you off. You said you had something to go into about this draft as a whole. And I feel like we could probably use that as a wrapping up point.
This draft is the first draft I feel like is being polluted by not Steph Curry's 3-point shooting, but Steph's Curry ability to make insane shots that don't make sense.
Okay.
It feels like there's so many of the guys like that we're talking about in this draft that like they make crazy shots. Like
Trey Johnson.
How'd that go in? But then you watch them and you're like, why did you miss that, guy? Why did you miss that layup? That doesn't make sense.
Oh, I see.
Why can you not do the simple things, but you can hit the 70-footer with your left foot behind your head? Like, what? Why did you not develop to be a normal basketball player, but instead all you can do is be crazy? Yeah.
Is it Edgecombe that misses a lot of layups? I don't want to say the wrong player.
I think Edgecombe's the one that's like crazy. Like 19% of his layups or something insane.
But yeah, there's like when he dunks
Maybe it's Trey Johnson.
He makes them.
One of them it feels like a fake number.
Yeah.
It feels like Shaquille O'Neal taking threes low percentage.
Yeah.
Like so low that they shouldn't take them, but they're talking about layups.
Yeah, just when he decides to put it off glass. If it's just like a little floater or a dunk, like he's a lot better at them. But if it's like a lay it up against the glass, he just throws it. And way I wish
I remembered the names because I know like I
feel like it was Edgecombe, and it could have been Trey Johnson. Those would be my two guesses as well.
But I think Ace Bailey also has aspects of that. Or randomly, you're like, you made that shot, but you missed the fast break layup?
Ace Bailey's number one comparison that I've heard over and over is Michael Porter Jr., so that would make sense.
Also, I heard the greatest analogy ever. I can't remember which podcast I was listening to, but someone used like an analogy from like a surfing documentary, and they were like, in the surfing documentary, when the waves get big enough, some of the weaker swimmers have to have a jet ski propel them to the top of the wave. Mm-hmm. And they're like, Jokic is the jet ski, and Michael Porter Jr.'s potential is how high he can get on the wave, and he needs Jokic to catapult him to what his potential can be, because he couldn't get all the way up there if he didn't have someone else to help him. I just thought it was very creative.
To be fair to MPJ, that is a good analogy, but to be fair to MPJ, most people who, going through the same thing that he's been through probably would not be playing basketball anymore with the amount of injuries that he, like literally 3 reconstructive back surgeries before the age of 24 or whatever.
Yeah.
Like that's insane. And he's still playing back, and still has drop foot. He has to wear a special brace that lifts his foot to a normal place before he puts his shoes on every game. Like he plays with that.
Oh,
and in playoffs last year was playing while not being able to move his left shoulder. He couldn't take his jersey off by himself after the games in the playoffs, but he was still playing. That's why I love MP. Like whenever you always joke about like the trading MPJ, and whenever I give you the reaction of like, no, like he's my dude. It's stuff like that I'm like, he was looked at such a one way when he came into the league, like rightfully so, as like I'm a baller bucket, way too confident, selfish type of thing. But he's been the complete opposite of that every step of the way. Like whenever he needs to prove himself of like being a good teammate and taking a lesser role or being able to just tough through something, like it's not his fault he's being paid at the amount that he is. You know what I mean? That's the one downside. It sucks that he's drastically overpaid and kind of cripples our roster because of his contract, but that's not his fault, Yeah. So I'm just MPJ positivity, all love, nothing but love for me to Michael Porter Jr. But yeah, looks like Jacob has moved on to other things.
No, I just read something. Apparently, Drew Holiday is pissed that he's in Portland.
He's pissed.
Yeah. Which I feel bad.
Yeah.
Like, I do a little bit, but I'm like, dude, you're going to get $120 million over the next 3 years.
Yeah.
And the Celtics can't do that. It's not a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Granted, there's like an argument of like, well, you guaranteed the money, you should do it. But someone else is willing to pay it. Someone else is willing to pay it. I don't know. I just think that's goofy. To me, just as like reported. And the guy was like, Celtics are trying to trade up into the draft lottery. Is like, well, and then
is that true?
Plus, this is what Steve Bullpit said, like a Celtics reporter thing, kind of. Not like, I don't know. And anyway, then and he said, plus, Drew is reportedly pissed he's in Portland. And just the way that it was phrased made me giggle. And then I wanted to see if it was like legit.
Mm-hmm.
But it does appear that he's not like super pumped about being in Portland. I guess. Yeah. I don't know. It
makes sense. I don't know. I think Portland's fun, but it's just not really a team for Drew Holiday right now.
Yeah.
And I still don't understand their thought of, it feels like Simons is a guy that would be easier to move, than you just got another guy you need to move. That's harder to move.
But again, maybe
and you gave up a second round pick. What was the point? Why?
Vibes. Mentorship.
Wasn't it 2 second round picks also?
Nope, just one.
Was it just one?
The 2 second round picks was the...
No, it's
maybe
2.
It was 2.
It's 2 second round picks.
Well, we also are in a world where the Portland Nets, or the Portland Nets, I had a stroke. The Brooklyn Nets, we've also been recording for 2 hours straight.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Where like the Nets were like, you want us to help you? We want the pick number 22 and an asset that we can trade for more.
Mm-hmm.
And they won.
They absolutely won. That is for sure.
That is the unequivocal winner.
The Celtics
Them and
won.
the Grousbecks are the 2 winners of that trade.
Mm-hmm.
And not even like the team a little bit because we get to keep our first round pick next year. Now in this hypothetical vacuum.
I'm also adding the Drew trade as part of that. Like
a double one for sure.
The Celtics, yeah.
Brad Stevens continues to cook, and if we end up in the lottery, and my boy Knuckle
for
balls,
what are you gonna
nipple?
No, but what are you gonna trade to get up in the lottery?
Anthony Simons and 19 second round picks. I don't know. We have like 1 million of them because Brad Stevens collects them like they're lucky pennies on the ground.
That's true.
No, if Brad Stevens was playing 2K, he could literally draft an entire second round. Just pick a year. He would have to keep trading back in years, but then eventually he would have the entire second round, and he would just own the G League. He's like, we are the G League.
Yeah, you guys have 32. Pick 32 this year, right? Do you have any more in the second round? As I'm skimming through. You have 28 and 32.
Yeah.
Those are your 2 picks in this year's draft, it looks like. Unless I'm blind. Yeah, Brooklyn has a lot, though. Like you said. Phoenix also feels like they have a lot. They have 10. They have 29. They have another one, at least. I'm guessing this is great podcast listening. 52 and 59 as well. So they have 4.
It looks like the Celtics are interested in Kasparis Jakusionis. I always just heard him called Jaku.
They say that?
That's what I've heard. I don't know if it's correct.
Yeah, I said his name a little bit. His Yakushonis is his how you pronounce it. Yakushonis, yeah. He if you can't tell, you could probably guess what country he's from just by his name.
Onus.
Yeah, Lithuania.
He's from the country of Onus.
Yeah. It's like the itches being all from the Balkans. The Baltics all have
Onus.
S. Or at least the Lithuanians do.
IS.
Kristaps Porzingis is from Latvia, but I believe his name is Lithuanian. I think his name is because Davis Bertans. I think that's more of a Latvian name. But anyways,
shout out to that guy, kind of a forgotten man. But yeah. Logan, I think that's all I've got left in the tank today.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I would like people to have a quick reminder to head on down to the like and comment, subscribe buttons on YouTube, or just comment and follow the podcast, please. Mm-hmm. Give us suggestions on what you feel, what you think. Email us questions at hooptheory.mailbag@gmail.com, or support fiscally my boy Logan. Head on over to patreon.com/hooptheory, or buy me a coffee hoop theory.
Yep.
Depending on if you want to do a monthly thing or just a one drop stop type of thing. Also, be sure to follow us on other places. If you're like, oh, most of the time I listen to you guys on TikTok, but I decided to listen to this episode because this won't be on TikTok, probably.
Probably not. Unless you say something really crazy right now.
Subscribe to other places because TikTok, right now it's around, but who knows when things might change or maybe they never will.
Yeah, who knows? I don't know.
I'm not in the know. Much like Tulsi Gabbard and Pete Hegseth when it comes to the Iran conflict. I don't know why I made it super political. Anyway, we're both getting a little bit crazy, a little sleepy. Have a good night. Mwah.
Stay happy, stay healthy. We'll talk to you guys next episode.
Peace.